Roger Goodell and the National Football League have a vendetta against the city of New Orleans, and they are once again trying to screw over the Saints. I'm going to explain my case here in today's video. A lot of important information around the salary cap and news that directly impacts the black and gold. Mike Florio put out a really lengthy article that basically laid out what Roger Goodell had to say at the latest ownership meetings, and I'm just going to say right now, it doesn't look like it's good news for New Orleans. So first, we're going to start off here. Roger Goodell is saying that they did spend time talking yesterday at length about areas of our collective bargaining agreement that we want to focus on. The two areas that we spent time on were really the cap system itself, the integrity of that system. Keep in mind that line right there, the integrity of the cap system itself. How it's working, where do we need to address that in the context of collective bargaining? When does that happen? That was a very lengthy discussion. For what it's worth, they didn't really talk much about the 18-2 change where you'd have 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games. It hasn't really been discussed. They mainly talked about the salary cap stuff. And like I said, this could be bad news for the Saints. Remember, the line that I told you to focus on, the integrity of that system, they're directly talking about how the New Orleans Saints have gone about their cap strategy in manipulating the cap space in order to maximize every single penny and be able to be cap compliant and still spend money on free agents and building the roster. So we're going to get into more of this really quickly, though. Got to give you an update on our road to 50K. We crossed over 46,300. Let's get to 46,350 with this video. Just 45 of y'all need to hit the sub button. That's not too much of an ask. So if you haven't subscribed today yet, I highly encourage you to hit the sub button for 100% free Saints content by fans, for fans. Plus, we do a lot of really cool interactive content, interviews, and all sorts of awesome stuff. So be sure to subscribe, lock us in, and let's get back to this discussion. Because why would the NFL, why would they have lengthy discussions for no reason? It's very, very obvious that they're trying to screw over the Saints because of how things transpired and how they have approached their salary cap system. This has been a thing that has been adopted by the National Football League by a lot of different teams. So Roger Goodell is clearly thinking, I put that on my vision board to try and screw over the New Orleans Saints and try and ruin all of the fun and putting money back into the owners' pockets. What a greedy SOB. And everyone likes to make fun of the Saints when it comes to their cap space and their situation and how they're always over the cap. And sure, laugh all you want. But a lot of teams have adopted the practices that the Saints use. A lot of teams that have won Super Bowls have adopted the kicking the can down the road philosophy. It works when you're winning football games. When you're losing and you only have 5 wins, sure, it's a joke and it doesn't make any sense. But when you're competing for Super Bowls, nobody has a peep to say about it. So, for what it's worth, it's not just the New Orleans Saints have been doing this kicking the can down the road thing. They're the team that started it. They're the trendsetters of this whole thing. Other teams have just adopted it, and Roger Goodell, not a happy camper about it. So get in the comment section. Type bozo if you think that this schmuck right here is an absolute clown. This dude's a fraud. He always is trying to screw the Saints. I swear, this guy's got an agenda to push to, I don't know what it is. Maybe the New Orleans Saints beat his favorite football team a few years ago. Who knows? Maybe he had some money down on Peyton Manning winning the Super Bowl against the Saints. Who knows? But he clearly is trying to screw over the New Orleans Saints. And for what it's worth, Roger Goodell, he believes that bending the rules is unfair. Specifically, the use of automatically voiding ghost years and kicking the can down the road. That is where the issues lie for Roger Goodell. And sure, I can understand it. It's a business. He wants more money in his pocket. But, Roger Goodell, you're saying all this about it's not fair to bend the rules and stuff. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty unfair to bend the rules, you schmuck. It's pretty unfair to change the rules to make sure you get what you want. Yeah, I 100% agree there. I can think of a few examples of this. Lopez, there's a handful of this in our history of Saints fans. Just being screwed over and over and over again. I mean, this, the most egregious one of all. And the fact that teams are wanting to copy the Saints cap strategy should not ruin the fun for everybody. There's gray areas in how this all works. Teams have exploited those gray areas. Sure, I can understand why you're like, nah, man, I don't want that to happen. But at the end of the day, this is a thing that the National Football League is adopting. And if that's how owners want to spend their money, let them spend their money that way. If that's how teams want to operate in building their roster, let them do that. I just don't think it makes any sense to try and change things right now because doesn't seem like it's really all that broken. Roger Goodell is just the guy who's mad because it's money out of his pockets, and at the end of the day, I don't really care. We're going to tell you more about that here in just 1 second, but first I got to show you this awesome shirt. A bunch of y'all have already picked it up. The clearance sale is almost sold out, so go and get it today. Chatsports.com/SaintsRewind. Link is clickable in the comments and description of this video. You got to go and get it. It's fresh. Got the old gold, the old fleur-de-lis, the old helmet. It looks so clean. Go get yourself some new swag. Link is in the comments and description of this video. All right. I want to continue talking about Roger Goodell on the ownership meetings because he did add a little bit more context. And I keep saying this is putting money back into their pockets. I'm going to explain that here as well with quotes from Mike Florio explaining that. But let's kick it to Roger Goodell first. The first thing they talked about was the salary cap stuff that we just discussed. The second thing that they discussed is the rising cost, the cost of stadiums, the cost of facilities, the cost of operation, the cost of investment, and how dramatically that's impacting the ownership view. So I think both of those will form what I would call our priorities going into any negotiation whenever that occurs. So look, I personally bet this salary cap rules will change in the future. I mean, he literally said it. Those are his priorities. That's what he would say. Those are the priorities for all of this moving forward. And when it comes to Roger Goodell and getting things done, if he wants something done, it will be taken care of. He's the commissioner of the largest, most successful sports league in the entire world, arguably outside of some of those European soccer leagues. And even those not really operated as well as the National Football League. The NFL is an extremely successful business. And at the end of the day, that's what this is, a business. So I get it. I understand why Roger Goodell wants to save every single penny. That's what these rich assholes love to do. They like to sit up in their high offices in their suit and ties. That's what they like to do here. But if Roger Goodell wants something done, it will be taken care of. It may not be taken care of immediately, but in the next handful of years, I do expect this rule to change. And I expect it to be a lot less easy to manipulate the cap space, if that makes any sense. Now, Mike Florio explaining a lot of this here. If nothing else around this whole thing, the NFL Players Association is on notice. The owners could end up plotting a hard bargain that will convert unlimited payments based on percentages to fixed numbers that will look great on paper. That's why it'll pass, because it looks good on paper, but it may not look good whenever you take it into account and you actually implement these things. But that will keep more total cash in the owner's pockets. Look, I just think when it comes to all of this, it sucks that these guys got to be just greedy SOBs. But for what it's worth, the Saints are trendsetters. This was a practice that was made popular by the Saints. A lot of people made fun of the kicking the can down the road. A lot of people didn't have anything to say when they were competing for Super Bowls, but obviously the Saints are not a team that's competing for the big game. That being said, got to say shout out to Khai Harley. He's a genius. I mean, the cap space stuff, that's a lot of Khai Harley there. He's the cap guru. So I wish that the suits weren't so selfish. I wish that things didn't have to change because they didn't like it. And, unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. The powerful people will make things happen. And unfortunately, at the expenses of us, the fans, and the teams, and the people who make them the money. So here we are just talking about rich guys, once again, trying to pocket more cash. Lucky here. Alrighty, so I want you to help me out here. It's the offseason. Obviously, OTAs are going on. Obviously, training camp and stuff happens. So we're going to cover that stuff. So when I'm asking for suggestions, I don't want to get suggestions on how are things looking at OTAs? How are things looking at training camp? Like, we're going to do that already. But what do you want us to talk about here on Saints Now? Do you want us to talk some history? You want us to talk about some hot takes? You want us to try and bring interviews of some of the guys in the office? If there's podcasters out there you want us to interview as well, feel free to let us know in the comments. We want to cater more to the viewers here at Saints Now. That's my promise to you, is to give you everything I got every single day, trying to be the best Saints YouTuber you could possibly imagine. I'm still young in my career. I'm still trying to grow, so I want to get suggestions from you, the viewers at home, you, the Golden Gang, because y'all are the reason that this show works. As Saints fans, I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's video. For me, for my guy, Loco Lopez, I hope y'all enjoyed today's content. We'll have more content coming out later today, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. By the way, really quick, Lopez, before you go away, happy birthday, Dad.